Hello and welcome to talkBULL, your weekly Premier League darts podcast coming to you every single Friday from now until the end of May. My name is Harry Durham and with me is 2006 Irish Open winner Colin Lloyd. Coming up, we'll take a look back at the latest results from the Premier League darts as Humphreys does it back-to-back in Leeds. And as always, we'll look ahead to night 15 as Premier League darts heads to Aberdeen. Do us a massive favour. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel just down below. Leave us a comment. Any questions that you've got for Cole. I've got one for him later on today, so make sure you get him in for next week as well. Did you like that Irish Masters 2006, Cole? I've just got on. I went on Wikipedia the other day just to find the most niche thing that you had won. Hailing Island Players Championship 2006, Ontario 2010, Gibraltar 2010, Chicago 2008. I mean, our friend Mr. Colin Lloyd, ladies and gentlemen, is a bloody jet setter. He's a jet setter. He's gone everywhere.
Hey, listen. It's all right you saying about me winning the Irish Masters in 2006, yeah?
Yeah.
What was significant about me winning that Irish Masters in 2006?
You did it 20 pints deep.
I'd done it. I won it hitting a 9-darter.
Jeez.
It's on YouTube and everything. As soon as our producer will know this, RTE there were filming it and everything. It was all over Irish TV and everything.
Are you lauded as somewhat of a god on the Emerald Isle, Cole?
I wouldn't say I'm lauded as a god, but I've got a nice little fan base over there. I love going over to Ireland. It's great fun over there. Always
Right,
looked
listen,
after.
Cole, listen, like the action last night, Hill Humphreys does it again in Leeds. First nightly win since Exeter on week 4. I mean, what an unbelievable final we had treated to Humphreys versus Littler. The atmosphere for Luke was unbelievable as well from that Leeds crowd. Of course, Leeds football supporter. Everyone was like, he's your local lad, he's your local lad. So, of course, you wanted him to win. And I had to interrupt people and be like, he's not from Leeds, mate. He's from a little town 3 hours and 45 minutes away. But I'm not getting into that nonsense again. Listen, let's start on the quarterfinals. MVG looked absolutely fuming with how long Luke's walk-on took. Obviously, Luke's going to laugh it all off because he comes out to a little bit of Joy Division. Then it goes into Kaiser Chiefs side Predictor Riot. I mean, seemed like a little walk in the park after Michael levelled it at 1-1. Then came leg 4. Then came the double 3 missed finish. Awkward. It's a pain on that double 3, no matter what level of dart player you are. But might have been the turning point, really. And it could have opened the door, really, for Michael to really come back in and take the reins of the game. But Humphreys prevailed, top professional. Attempts on the double 18 was absolutely disgusting. It was exhibition stuff. I mean, the win against Michael now means that he's officially at the O2. Beat Bunting in the semi-final, looked electric on the outer ring, but still had some wobbly moments as well. Interesting stat, though. 5 legs in that semi-final, had an average of 87.
Yeah,
and he was so clutch on the ball as well. To win in leg 8, then follows up with a... this always makes me laugh anyway. You can be so clinical on the ball, and then your next hand, you rock up and hit a 26. He's bloody human! He's bloody human. It was a 20 in 2 treble ones. Finally against Luke Littler, fought back so strongly after being 2-0 down. Such an unbelievable speed to the game. He dug deep after being 2-0 down, and I think he gave himself the rocket up his bottom that he needed. Colt, I mean, you look at that final last night, and I said about the pace of the game. That's the pace that we just want for every single game in the Premier League, really, isn't it? Because I think over the last 2 weeks, there's definitely been moments which have been so flat and so sour. Really selling the product there.
Morning, Harry. Yeah, I think last night, Harry, it was a case of, until we got to the final, I think it was a case of missed opportunities, wasn't it? So many people created opportunities and missing their doubles again. Rob Cross created opportunities, missed doubles. Nathan Aspinall must have been absolutely spitting when he come off against Luke Littler, because the amount of opportunities he had, he took out a 1-6-4, clean as anything, a 1-1-2, clean as anything. And then after that, and before that, he was getting opportunities and just couldn't take them. MVG, there was inconsistencies again, but again, he's someone that could possibly have got through against Luke Humphries. But like you say, when you got to the final, Luke Littler and Humphries, that's what you expect. They're the world number 1 and world number 2 and world champions. And I think it was said last night, there's only 2 majors that either of these 2 players don't hold. And we got treated to some fireworks in the final. I mean, Luke Litter 211 darters in the final. I think there was a 10 darter last night as well, wasn't there? It was great. And that was a great way to finish off the evening, not only for the people that are watching at home, but the fans that have paid their money to go and watch it.
Cole, when he's on form like that, Luke Humphries, and we've said it so many times before that he's almost like a Terminator, like a cyborg. If he can find that every single time, and I know we mentioned about there being a little bit of a breeze on stage as well. You would have seen backstage at all of these events how many doors, how many shutters, how many curtains, how many blindfolds, how many air conditioning units are turned off just so there isn't a slightest little breeze going up on stage. If he can patch up some bits of his game, especially off the back of last night and what week that we're in, go into the penultimate couple of weeks before the O2, he's going to be very, very confident ahead of London, isn't he?
Well, yeah, you'd like to think he's going to be. You don't get to the dizzy heights of world number 1, world champion, Grand Prix champion, match play champion. The list goes on and on and on. You don't get down to the nitty-gritty of a tournament, Harry, then all of a sudden start panicking. I think the early stages of this Premier League, we've seen some fireworks, we've seen some great stuff, we've seen some not so great stuff. But I think he'll be a lot more relaxed now, knowing that he's there. Luke Little is there, obviously. I think Gezi Price is there as well.
Yeah, all 3 of them, ladies and gentlemen, have qualified. Luke Little has qualified, Luke Humphries qualified, and Gelwin Price has also qualified as well.
So you've got 3 class players. There's been some inconsistencies. Both the Lukes have been sublime in weeks. And then there's been the bits where they've battled and trying to work at it and trying to get something going. And the same can be said about Gezi Price. Well, those 3 guys now, Harry, they can relax, can't they? They can relax. They know now that they're there. And where there's so much prize money now involved in darts, they can just think to themselves, right, I'm just going to relax. I know I've got the points. I'm going to be at the O2. Right, I'm going to focus on that 10 grand bonus. And that's all they have to do now. The ones that have to really start pushing now and are going to start thinking about things is Nathan, Gezi, Gary Price, MVG, and Rob Cross, because those 3 guys are the 3 that are battling now to take that 4th space. And so the next couple of weeks, Harry, are going to be absolutely massive. And there's going to be some severe pressure on those guys because they all want to get there. Of course they want to get to the O2.
You were saying as well, Nathan Aspinall, was it spitting feathers that you were saying, the expression that you used?
Yeah.
But it's one of those situations, and one thing that the Premier League is so good for is that he would have come off stage really frustrated, and I actually thought he had a decent game. It was just some of his performance on the outer ring, I just think was quite poor from Nathan, to be honest. Some of it was a real mess to let Littler back in. But the good thing about the Premier League is, he goes like that, comes off stage, he's going to be frustrated in the back room, but then Michael doesn't pick up points as well. It's almost like a blessing of just like this up and down roller coaster of emotions. Yeah. So both of them really going into Aberdeen, what is going to be sort of the main focus for Nathan? What does Nathan need to work on ahead of next Thursday? Is it purely, I'm not sure off the top of my head if Nathan will be at the Pro Tour this week, but is it a case of just having a nice relax, cool, calm, collected? Because that matchup in Aberdeen in the quarterfinal, because them 2 will meet each other, is one of the biggest games of the Premier League season so far, if not the.
Well, it is now, yeah. It's massive now. I mean, going into last night, Harry, Asp, MVG, Cross, Price. It was a battle to see who could possibly nail down an appearance at the O2. Gezzy's done that. Now it's down to the other three. And like I just said, these next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely massive for all of them. I don't think Nathan needs to do much, Harry, really. He's just, like you said, you answered it, really. He's got to sharpen up on the outer ring. His scoring was there. I mean, he kicked off his match 7 darts into a 9-darter. Ended up having a 10-darter. takes out a 164 and a 112, call as you like. But then it was the stuff all around it. And he was getting chances because Luke Littler, I think he'd done it 2, possibly 3 times in that match. He missed the big number with the second dart to leave himself a double. And Nathan was there waiting, and he didn't capitalise on it. Yeah. But his average in that match at one point was 112. He was throwing some really good stuff, but it just goes to show how heavy his scoring was. If he was still averaging that, and Luke was still keeping with him through playing, by his standards, quite bally.
What did you make of his theatrics as well? Because there was a moment where he was getting really frustrated. Through the 1 treble 20, thumb up like that. Through the 2nd treble 20, thumb up like that. I mean, that's the sort of stuff that, I can imagine me and you doing. I mean, when we're frustrated playing in our houses, not on national bloody television. You'd have punched it.
No, I wouldn't have got like that, Harry. You would have done, because you're not really a dart player, and you've never achieved nothing.
Right, I was just might as well just lay on my bed then and not do anything for the rest of the show. You can just talk about whatever you want for the next half an hour,
mate. I don't mean that. I'll tell you, the one that got me, Harry, the one that really got me is when he come walking back and they were booing him and he was going for a double. And he hit said double. That was against Nathan. He come walking back and he looked at the crowd and went,
Yeah, I was going to mention that, yeah.
And
when he's getting on all of Littler's theatrics, I mean, I mentioned Nathan's theatrics there. Littler took it to another level as well.
Yeah.
But it's that comic relief with Nathan as well. Even though we've said before that players aren't what they used to be. They're not what they used to be back in the day. But at least Nathan can have a laugh with sort of situations, which sort of makes him a crowd favourite as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There was times in that game then, Nathan all of a sudden thought to himself, you know what, this is quite an important game. And you saw his whole demeanour, his face expression, it totally changed. But unfortunately for him, Luke didn't. Luke just kept enjoying himself, and he ended up running out the 6-4 winner. I mean, who would have said, Harry? I mean, in that game against Nathan, Luke Littler, for all the 180s he's hit, he hit 180.
Yeah.
And you just think to yourself, really? But all his scoring around it was good. But Nathan just kept giving him chance after chance after chance. And in the end, Luke Littler said, well, if you don't want it, I'm going to take it. But like you say, Nathan's a good fella. He won't be panicking. There'll be a nice bit of added pressure the next couple of weeks for 3 players. And I think that could make for some really exciting darts and some exciting TV.
Let's go on to the second finalist then as well. Luke Littler just came up short against Luke Humphries. A lot of boos from the Leeds crowd, like you can imagine, with him being a Manchester United fan. It's almost like he can't go anywhere at the moment in the UK without getting a bit of dog's abuse from rival football fans. I mean, I think it should be all right in Aberdeen and Sheffield. Well, I mean, with Alex Ferguson being the former manager of Aberdeen, I think there might be some happiness there, but that was back in the 80s. Big old yawn expression to the crowd and the old crybaby eyes for those in attendance. Good on him. Good on him. People online and on social media be like, he's getting too big for his boots. Or it's like, invite the pressure. I mean, the S-housery I love it, personally. Give it back to them. They've paid for a seat to come and see you.
Yeah.
Then as soon as the music starts going, they're all singing it as well. So,
you know, Harry, I think people have said over the years, like or over the past good few months, anyway, the game hasn't got many characters anymore. I think he's turning into a bit of a character. And do you know what? I think he's someone that he goes up there. he just goes about his business in his own way, and he just doesn't care. He don't care that they're booing him or that they're trying to do things to him. He just shrugs his shoulders and he interacts with the crowd, and they should appreciate that. But sure, listen, that's up to him if it works for him. But one thing I will say is that when you're doing stuff like that, Harry, when you're doing stuff like that, you could get to a point where they're at you constantly. And then if you react to them, you can't complain. You can't complain. But listen, at this moment in time, listen, he's riding the crest of a wave, isn't he? He has been doing that for the last 18 months now. And it looks like that ride's going to continue. And I like to see it myself. He's 18 years old. He's enjoying life. He's enjoying his darts. And listen, long may it continue.
I mean, what were we all doing when we were 18? We were too big for our boots.
I know what I was doing.
Oh yeah, you were winning. I mean, I was more, staying up until the crack of dawn on nights out with the boys. Do you know what I mean? Getting a bit gobby with some people, not law enforcement or anything like that, but you fancy yourself when you're 60, when you're 17 or 18, because you're just going out, you're fresh on the pints properly down the pub and stuff like that. You've got a new energy about you. You go into a new lease of life, a new confidence as well. And if people are going to give him dog's abuse for it, and he's going to keep on winning as well, even better. Honestly, even better if he becomes the Manchester United of darts, even though that's Phil Taylor. And hopefully he doesn't have the downfall of a Manchester United as well. But it just makes good telly, Cole. It makes good telly. It makes good radio. Listen, some of the moments last night as well, Cole, from Luke Littler as well, they were definitely there. The layup to leave him 24 in leg 4 against the Asp was absolutely absurd. The comeback against Gezi was pretty nuts at the same time as well. I thought in that moment I was like, oh, he's going to fold here. He's going to fold it. I thought Gezi was looking on top in the early rounds of that match as well in that semi-final. 50% on his doubles in the semi as well. 8th final in 14 Premier League weeks. We forget as well, did actually storm ahead to a lead against Luke Humphreys in the final as well, taking a 2-0 lead. That I think my shot of the night was the double 19 finish. Cole, he can potentially be the whole package. I know it's a cliche of people saying, how good really is he? But we know how good he is, for goodness sake. And like you said about the characteristics of it all and just the exhibition shots that he pulls off as well. He's still doing it all at the moment in 3rd or 4th gear, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Harry. He makes the game look so ridiculously easy sometimes. I mean, there was a couple of times last night where you thought, oh, I don't know. And he seemed to his facial expression and demeanour sort of changed. It was as if he was, I don't want to say that, it was as if he was actually trying. And he just hit absolutely everything. And do you know what, Harry, to have that as a player, that you know how good you are and you can just pick things off like that. He's just unbelievable. I had it for periods of time, but he's very, I don't want to use the words Taylor-esque, because Taylor was the same. Different era, different player, 2 completely different people. He's not Phil Taylor, he's Luke Littler. And listen, he has the ability to absolutely blow people away. And in the world of darts, there haven't been many of them. Luke Humphreys is up there as one of those, I think. Gezi Price on his day, MVG. And, there's not a group, Harry, that's like this big. There's a group like that big that have been capable over years to just throw some sublime darts for a period of time and make it absolutely ridiculously easy.
I think the thing is with Luke as well, it's the fact that he pretty much did it on debut. And you look at Luke Humphreys, who was on the circuit for so many years and then sort of just like earned his stripes and rise through the ranks. Whereas, I mean, for the average person who didn't watch the JDC or even Modus, Luke Littler was a complete and utter unknown to a lot of people that just watch the Worlds every single year. So I think it's that credit as well.
I think
He's not had to really go through the system like that much
yeah,
of the PDC
yeah.
and graft that way because it just comes so naturally to him.
I think what was good for him was where he went through the JDC. He got used to playing against quality players of his own age, and he got used to playing on a stage. And then the big stepping stone was for him was to go to play in the Modus Super Series events, where he's coming up against former seasoned pros, people who had, ideas of becoming a pro. And he was playing in front of a nice little crowd on a big stage. And I think he is, Harry, to this day. I think he's the only person to ever win it twice, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, I think. Yeah.
And some of the stuff that I saw him thrown on there was just out of this world.
And Modus is a really good standard as well. Like some of the players that you get at Modus are unbelievable.
Yeah, that's it, mate. And the thing that done me, Harry, I mean, you've watched the Modus and whatever. The things that he was doing in Modus, you think to yourself, all right, good stuff, good stuff. But for him to carry on and even take his game up to another level and do exactly the same things like the double 19, double 19, 141, treble 20, treble 17, double 15, he does his own thing in his own way. And all I would say to don't change. Just keep doing what you're doing. If it got you there in the first place, you don't need to change anything. Just keep going.
Dare we say anything about Michael Van Gerwen this morning, Cole?
Listen, I think
I'm running out of things to say. To be honest with you, mate, he looks a bit lost. My suggestion was last night because some players have been so open about doing it. Gezzy's been open about it. Luke Humphries has been open about it. Stephen Bunting's been open about it. Is it? I mean, I don't know what Michael's going to feel about this. Is sports psychologist a route for Michael?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly.
Just a factory reset.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say, Harry, that he's not already seeing one? We don't know. Michael's quite private like that, and at the end of the day, if he doesn't want to talk about it, he doesn't want to talk about it. He's dominated the game for so long. He dominated the game for over a decade, Harry. He's got nothing to prove, certainly to the likes of me or the Darton fans. And if he looks deep down, he doesn't have to prove anything to himself. But it's the bloody minders and the stubbornness of playing talkSPORT that keeps you driving on and on and on. The only thing with Michael, there's the Euro Tour the other week. He was absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But then all of a sudden he comes back again and you think to yourself, right, here we go, let's see what happens. And there's just far too many inconsistencies, Harry, and that's crept into his game over a period of time. And unfortunately for him, it's getting a little bit more too often now. And I'm going to say it like this, he's lost that fear factor now. He's lost that fear factor. He isn't the once dominant player that he was. I'm certainly not putting him down because he's a class act and he's a class fella. But you've got the likes of Littler, Humphries, Aspinall, Gezzy Price, people away from the Premier League at the moment. Johnny Clayton, people like that. They all want a piece of the action, and it gets tougher and tougher and tougher, Harry, when you've got so many people taking chunks out of you. And listen, is it catching up with Michael a bit? I personally think it is a little bit. But listen, he's got nothing to feel bad about. Shouldn't feel ashamed about anything. It happens to all of us, Harry, at some point or another. And people forget, Harry, he's been around playing since like 16, 17 years old. He won the Winmore World Masters at 17 years old. What is he now? 35?
He's just turned 36. It was
30. So
his birthday the other week.
So 36. So he's actually been on tour now, Harry. Whether it was BDO, PDC, whatever. He's been on tour now 19 years. Takes a lot out of you. And he's achieved an awful lot in those 19 years. And listen, it sounds like I'm talking that, that's it, he's done. I'm not talking like that whatsoever. But this year in the Premier League has been a real battle for him. And would I like to see him get to the O2? Yes, I would like to see him get to the O2. but for all the right reasons. I want him to put in 2 big performances now in Aberdeen and Sheffield. And then for me, he'll possibly deserve it because he's been consistent-ish.
Does he deserve it more than Nathan, though, if you actually compare the 2 Premier League seasons they've both had?
Possibly not. Possibly not. But even with the brilliance of Nathan sometimes, he's also had issues with the inconsistencies, Harry. You know, I know I said it earlier that they've all had their little ups and downs, and whatever. Listen, I suppose I'm going to finish it, Harry, that, listen, whoever takes that 4th spot, we're going to have 4 great competitors down at the O2, whether it be Asp, MVG, or Robbie Cross, you know, who we haven't really talked about. Rob had a decent quarter with Price, only ended up losing 6-5. He's been consistent, and it's hard to believe that he hasn't actually played in a final. So, like I say, mate, I just think whoever takes that 4th spot, I think we could end up having a quality night down at the O2.
I just think if I'm analysing the entire season and with how inconsistent Michael has been and how many moments that Nathan has given us, I think Nathan is definitely the man that should be in that 4th spot. If they were going to select someone and just say, if you had to pick someone right now, you know, out of a line, Nathan, congratulations, you're in there. But, I mean, could you imagine the scenes, Cole? If Michael did actually make it, well, I feel like I say this every week and it's just utter cowpat. But if he got to the O2 and then just switched it on, went straight into sport mode, and then just bloody won the whole thing. But I mean, there's more chance of, I don't know, me and you probably getting married than that happening, Cole.
Yeah, very much so. Harry, the thing about it, I think I've said this as well, mate. I think I've said this over the weeks. The league phase is fabulous. It's fabulous. You get to go round, travel round, entertaining the fans in all these fantastic arenas. 12, 13, 14, 15,000 people, whoever's in there. But then it all ends up, there's only 4 players left. And whatever 4 players are left, it doesn't matter whether Luke Littler's won 5 nights. Maybe he might win next week. That'll be 6. Maybe he might win the following week. That'll be 7. And that'll be a record. That's all great. The following week is when it counts. You're down to the last 4. And if it isn't a Luke Littler, Luke Humphreys clash somewhere along the line, are people going to be disappointed? But the Premier League isn't just about 2 players. I've got to say that. It isn't just about 2 players. Whoever gets that 4th spot is going to be those 4 and basically made the best man win. Because each and every one of the players, in my eyes, that have competed in this Premier League, each and every one of them, even Dobie, even Bunting, they're more than capable of beating any player on this planet on their given day. And that's no different to when you get to finals night at the O2 in a few weeks' time.
Quick one on Gezi, Carl. I thought it was absolutely stinking on his doubles and his opener, and it was almost like a changed man in his semi-final. What was it? He went to the 8s, fumbles that, and then fumbles the 4s as well. Then the layup for the tops in leg 6 was almost like lunacy. It was honestly like pub darts. We don't expect that from Gezi. Levelled it on the next leg after that of the 1-1-2 into the semi-final, kicks off against Littler for 1-3-5, goes 2 up. Let's loop back in after let's loop back in and then secured the Shanghai to make it 3-3. Made an absolute mess of the finishing in leg 8 as well.
Yeah.
Still picked up some vital points at the same time and has qualified. It's just a weird night, wasn't it? Some absolute Gezi brilliance. It was almost like last week, whereas it was his first game last week where he looked actually properly on it. Then his second game, he averaged about 80. Yeah. Whereas it was sort of the same sort of flip-flop scenario for Gezi in Leeds as well.
His first game last week was Luke Humphreys, and it was an absolute belter.
That's it.
5. And then he ended up playing MVG and had a bit of a stinker. And, I mean, listen, For Gezi would have woken up this morning, knowing full well that he's qualified, and he'll just be thinking that, Harry, tick, job done.
Yeah.
Job done. I'm at the O2. I'm at the O2 with 2 weeks to spare, and so I can relax now. And like I said at the start, he's one of the players now that can think to himself, right, I'm just going to play for the 10 grand bonus now. He doesn't have to worry about points. He doesn't have to worry where he actually finishes, whether he finishes 4th, 3rd, wherever. It doesn't matter. Because like I just said, Harry, all of those 4 players that are going to be at the O2, all 4 of them are more than capable of being crowned the Premier League champion.
Do you think he's putting too much pressure on himself as well? Because I heard sort of whispers yesterday that he is going to be in Germany for the Pro Tour. And I can't really think about a Pro Tour or a Euro Tour that Gilliwan's actually missed so far this year, Cole. And I mean, you're seeing some of like the up and down consistency with Gezi at the moment. And I guess the same goes for Michael as well, because I think Michael's meant to be in Germany for the Pro Tour as well. Barely missed the Euro Tour this year. And, you know, what's the thinking behind a situation like that? They do look tired. Let's get that straight before we go on to anything else.
Yeah.
But why are they continuing to go on these Pro Tours at this moment in time? Because the Pro Tour this week, obviously ending on Tuesday. Sorry, you got to get yourself up to Aberdeen. Is potentially, if you go the distance on both of those days, you're going to be absolutely cooked by Thursday night. But why are they persisting with it?
I think what they're doing, Harry, they're trying to iron out those inconsistencies. And they want to try and iron those inconsistencies out through match play. There's no pressure, Harry. There's no pressure. Like, you stand and you love your darts. You love playing darts. You can stand at home. You can stand on your dartboard for hours and hours and hours. And you can pick things off. And that's okay. But you've got to put yourself in a pressurised situation. If I was standing with you and we're playing, then all of a sudden I am more than capable of putting you on the back foot when it comes to playing darts. But it's how you react to being put on the back foot, Harry. Now, if you can still produce whilst you're on the back foot, you know your game's going in the right direction. They'll be livid. They'll be livid that there's treble 20, a big 5, treble 20. If it's not a big 5 area, it's got to be at least a 20. All peppering around that treble 20. Gezi last night, switching down to 19s, he was getting so frustrated. I think there was a time last night, I think it was in his first game, he picked off a 171 and picked off a few good shots on the 177, 171. But as the night went on, he was sort of like that far away from it, above the treble 19, you know. And so basically, it's long-winded the way I'm saying it. It's basically trying to get that consistent play through match play. You can sharpen things up and get the mindset right on a practice board, but it's about taking the practice board to competition play. So I think that's what they're doing. They're just trying to keep themselves as sharp as possible and iron out those inconsistencies. A long-winded way of saying it, but I've got there eventually.
Cole, should we have a little throwback quickly? Because I sent you a little video which you want to get your thoughts on. Let's go back to the 2019 German Darts Open. Dave Pallett's 170 on the board. Higher pin up the crowd against Daryl Gurney. It was electric. 260s. Tries to go for the ball. Goes into the 18 by accident. Add 32 on the ring. Couldn't find it. Was absolute vintage darts and entertainment. How you can be right at the top, about to hit a big fish, spill it over into the 18s, and you can't finish a dinner on the outer ring with a 32. I think off the top of my head, he blocked himself off like so badly that he couldn't get in anywhere. Because I think he might have actually hit a 16, but it went in so awkwardly that then it might have blocked off his attempt on a double 8 as well. Daryl is remembered as one of the greatest ever legs in darts history, just to how stupid and entertaining it was with Daryl Gurney winning it as well. Cole, the 18 instead of the ball, I mean, you can say amateur darts and pro darts as well. What are the most hilarious darts that you've ever seen someone throw? Like, say, for instance, example, someone's on a big fish, right? And then they throw it off the board and get a no score, and they could have gone into a wall or someone's head or something stupid like that. And then the pro version that you've seen as well of someone that you might have been playing against.
I don't think it's one specific moment of anything, Harry. I remember when I first started playing in Colchester, you used to have the social club league on a Friday evening, like tonight. And what it was, Harry, it was 301 double start. Yeah. And really good friends of mine, and means absolutely nothing to our listeners. Well, it might do to some of them if they're from round my way. But there was two players that were like kingpins of my area, who, when I first started playing, I thought if I could be as good as those two, I'll be really happy. And there was a guy called Reg Carter and another guy called Seth Schofield. And it was down at the old railway club. It's not there anymore. And it was actually set, Harry, on like a little stage. The dartboard was up on the stage. And two little incidences that night. I went up and played. I'd usually played in the Friday Open League. Reg was the captain. Anyway, I was standing there practicing. And I won the bullseye. Anyway, I turned around to throw. And of course, we're up on the stage. And so there's a few people in the club looking at me. And I went, Reg. And he went, yes, mate. I went, what's the format? He went, 301 double start. And just stuck his thumb up. Of course, I turned there and I stopped again. I turned around and I went, are you serious? Because I'd never played in the social club league. And he went, yeah. Anyway, Harry, 301, bearing in mind. I'd done the first day. I won the first day. I won 2-0. I won the first leg with starting on a double and finishing on a double. I reckon I won the first leg at about 27 darts. It was ridiculous. And then I'd done a 7-dart. Yeah. Well, that night, Reg played Cess. It went 6-7-6. Which is basically a 9, a 10, and a 9 on 501. And that's how ridiculously tough it was around my way playing darts. So that, for me, I was just laughing because I thought, I've never seen darts like that before. 301 double start, and I've seen 6, 7, and 6. It was just ridiculous.
Is there anything when you were a pro or even punter that you saw which you were like, oh my God, that is the most hilarious setup that you've ever seen? Or I don't know, someone's attempted a 3-ball 150 checkout and they just spooned it completely. Because you don't really get, because obviously these guys are top level pros, you never get someone that is like missing the board if they go for a treble 20. Never.
I'm just trying to think of someone that's actually done that.
Anyone on the pro tour that did something absolutely stinking, it was hilarious.
Well, I think there was one, funnily enough. It was it would have been at the Grand Prix weekend in City West. Our producer Snooze will know that, the City West Hotel, just on the outskirts of Dublin. That's where we used to play the World Grand Prix. But before that, Harry, the Saturday and Sunday, the Grand Prix used to start on the Monday. But the Saturday and Sunday, at the time, it was a pro tour, like a pro tour event, and it was a UK regional. We used to have a UK region to qualify for the UK Open. And I'll never forget it there. I think it was a guy called Nick Fulwell. Nick Fulwell played in a few TV events in the PDC. Good player, good player, really good player from Warwickshire. And he actually went, now I've got to think about this, he actually went, I think he was on the 9-darter. And he went treble 20, and I think he went treble 15, double 12. Or he went treble 20, treble 19, double 18. Because I think he got so fuffled in his head about the 81 that he must have been thinking in his head, right, if I hit the treble 20, am I going to go treble 18 or treble 18? Treble 19, as we all know, leaves a double 12. And I'm pretty sure, actually, that he actually went treble 19 and he went double 18 and went, yes, like that. And someone said, yeah, you've bust. And, it was funny, but also a heartbreaking moment. But that also gave the likes of me, who knows Nick very, very well, that also gave me the firepower to ridicule him for the rest of the day. You know, I mean, Harry, yeah, it was funny. It was funny because you think, so how can you make that mistake? But I did feel for him. I did feel sorry for him. But yeah,
The thing is,
lived that one
right,
down for ages.
when you're in that sort of like pressurized moment, probably, because obviously the 12 and the 18 is pretty much parallel to each other on the board. I mean, they're exactly the same position, just on the left and the right. So it's actually probably quite a. If you're not thinking about it, it could actually be. There's probably a lot of people that have actually done it, but I mean, whatever's going through your brain at that point, you must, especially if that's like your first career 9-darter as well.
Yeah.
Like, imagine it. You might have hit a 9-darter on a practice board or at home or whatever, but if you're in a pro tour, you're thinking, you know what? I'm under the pump at the moment. I'm probably going to have to hit a 9-darter to go on level terms or put pressure, and then you go straight back to that 1-4-1. It just must have a real bitter taste in your mouth.
Do you know, Harry? The thing about it is, as well, if memory serves me correct, that was against Phil Taylor.
Shut up.
And I think, if memory serves me correct again, that was an unbelievable humdinger of a match. And I'm not sure if he lost that leg or not, but it must have pickled him a little bit. And I think Phil went on to win the game. Something like 6-5, 5-4, whatever we played as a format at the time. And like you say, the mind plays tricks on you. The mind does funny things. Like you say, he was on for his first 9-darter in the PDC. And 81, he's just got his trebles and doubles the wrong way round.
At least it wasn't in like a world final.
Oh, Jesus, can you imagine it? But I mean, there's, Aaron, this is the thing as well. I mean, anybody who's been a darts player, a darts fan or whatever, and you've watched the darts over the years, you've seen players on TV. They've miscounted, they've counted wrong. They've gone, yes, walked up to the board, and then they've gone, and they've left themselves double one. They're too short. So they've gone like, they've put their hands up like that, sort of like as if to say, oh, hang on a minute. And they're looking around the board. And then all of a sudden the realisation kicks in that, say, they've gone, I don't know, treble 18 for double 16, but they've gone treble 18, double 12 or something like that, or double 14. And you think, so hang on a minute, you're 6 points short. And it's not a nice thing to do, especially if it could cost you the leg and go on and to lose the match, because you won't sleep for weeks and weeks with that sort of thing. Fortunately for me, I don't think I ever miscounted that bad on TV. I don't think.
Mate, you're always quite smart.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that, mate, but I just don't. I'm pretty sure that I didn't miscount on TV. I'm pretty sure I didn't.
Anyone that wants to have a good laugh, it was the year after Cole won the match play as a good sort of Sky VT of him building sandcastles on Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and Eric Bristow comes up to him. And Eric Bristow's like, you're the king of these parts now, aren't you? And then you're just like, yeah, I am, yeah. He's building his sandcastles. I was like, that's my mate. Yeah. I was like, yeah, he actually used to play darts, and he was actually really, 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 really good. And now he's taking me under his wing. Cole, I meant to say there was a question that I'm going to ask you from a listener. Yeah. I think I'm going to save it until next week, because I actually kind of want to get loads and loads stacked up for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've made it this far, please get your questions into Colin, whatever you want to ask, what car he drives, what darts he uses, his address, so you can stalk him, and ever what address he wears as well. Dorothy Perkins, is he's humble with Primark, or any darts related questions as well, so we can ask the great man himself. Right, let's have a look at the Premier League table then. Luke Littler qualified at number 1. Luke Humphreys qualified at number 2. Gerwyn Price qualified at number 3. Michael Van Gerwen in 4th. Nathan Aspinall in 5th. Getting very, very interesting. They're just 1 point separates them. 5 points separates Rob Cross and Nathan Aspinall. Rob Cross in 6th. Chris Dobie in 7th. And Stephen Bunting in 8th. Night 15 then. May 15th. I mean, it's such a golden week. I mean, the 15th night on the 15th day, the P&J Live. I wonder what P&J is. I don't know off the top of my head. It must be some Scottish. I'm going to say it's like a Scottish ferry company. Is that P&O Cruises? Aberdeen. We're going to Aberdeen. Quarterfinals are as followed: Michael Van Gerwen versus Nathan Aspinall. That massive top four clash. Gedwin Price versus Stephen Bunting. Chris Toby versus Rob Cross. And a repeat of the final: Luke Littler versus Stephen Bunting. Cole, it's now your time to shine and say your key message that you say every single week.
Enjoying what you're seeing and what you're hearing, please join the link below, like and subscribe. And subscribe.
I thought you said describe.
No, like and subscribe. Did I say describe?
You said describe, yeah.
So do that again.
We're going to keep this in. Let's keep this whole thing in.
Right.
Take number 2. Colin Lloyd. Action.
Folks, if you like what you're hearing and like what you're seeing week in, week out, click the link below, like and subscribe, and you can listen to my dulcet tones week in, week out. Well, for another 3 weeks anyway. And you can also listen to Harry drivel.
The 2 sexiest men in darts broadcasting doing a podcast. What can you say? I mean, why wouldn't you want to subscribe to these lovely faces? Do you know what I mean? He said it. The great man said it just there. Make sure you like and subscribe to the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel just down below. Keep up with the latest news from the Premier League and all across the sport. Plus, we'll have all of our commentaries and watch-alongs coming your way next Thursday for Aberdeen. Cannot wait. Cole, goodbye. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it massively. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good weekend. Pro Tour is back. And then we're up to Aberdeen.